Hello, hello, and welcome back to Conspiracy Cantina. It is I, Ryan Depaul, or Jedi Master Depaul, if you will, and we are back and excited to. I actually had to dust off the cobwebs for this one because, as you may know, a new show is back in town, or I should say, it has started, and the Acolyte. And I am excited to talk about it, and I'm excited to watch it. So this has been one of my most anticipated shows, and we are going to be talking about the Acolyte and the episodes. I actually have a guest I'm going to introduce to you guys. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that like and share this with somebody who actually might love Star Wars just in general or wants to know more about the show The Acolyte. So I'm going to bring up our guest that we have, and I'm excited to introduce you guys to him because I've been following him on TikTok for some time, and I love his conversations when it comes to Star Wars and his takes. And he's a fellow blurred just like me. So I'll let him introduce himself.
All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you for having me, sir. I am Inquisitor Akula. You can find me at Inquisitor_Akula on TikTok. I'm thinking about moving over to YouTube. If I get enough, I guess, fanfare about it, I think I'll do a full move. But TikTok is where I am primarily. And I love Star Wars just like you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Nice. That's awesome. Awesome. And see, that's what I think I love about just like Star Wars stuff that we love. Like, I know that you're into game cards like Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes,
and
sir.
like just everything in general, like it brings us together as a common bond. And it's like, okay, cool. No matter where we are against around the world, that's what it is. But in this one, it's gonna be Star Wars. And yeah, man, I've been seeing you going head to head with some of the 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 fandom.
Yeah,
The fandom.
yeah.
We'll call that.
We
Um,
call them that.
yeah, right. And it's been interesting. And we'll get more to that one, but I actually want to talk more about the episode. So we're talking about the third episode.
Yes, sir.
Destiny is called, right? And
Yes,
so I enjoyed this episode. This episode, I actually
I
got
loved it.
chills when it came because like we were getting more of the backstory. So
Yes,
um,
finally.
right, it's like granted this is a mystery, a kind of a show. So now we're getting more of like the why it's a mystery, how it became a
Right.
mystery, and why are we going like getting all into this one. And so from your perspective, and like, oh, what did you like? What stood out to you? What did you love about this?
I loved how layered this episode was. There were a lot of uh I guess opinions, and not even opinions, but perspectives. There were a lot of different
Mhm.
perspectives. You had the relationship between the sisters. You had the relationship between the two mothers, the stern versus the more loose approach. You had the relationship between the Jedi, even, which you had the relationship between the Jedi even, and that was the Jedi between this very new witch coven, which was crazy to me to see because this is the first time we get to see that I think live action
Mhm.
where the Jedi themselves are kind of aggressive in their approach to, I guess, how they're going to get these children. We haven't seen that yet, and so far, what we've read and what we've seen on live action, the Jedi are like recruiting. They're just like, hey, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But that wasn't the vibe here for this episode, and I love that. I love seeing that.
Dude, like you hit it on the nail because like it's the perspective, the different perspective. We hear so much about like the Jedi being, kidnapping kids and things like that, and
Yeah,
also with that. And I was like, wait, hold on, like with that part, I was like, are y'all actually doing that? Maybe there's a
yeah,
valid reason why people are saying that now. What the hell's going on? And I was like,
yeah, yeah.
whoa, y'all was kind of like bullying people. Debo was like, hey, what you doing?
It looked a little Debo. It looked a little Debo-ish, not gonna lie. I was like, oh wow, all right. When Soul was spying on him, I was like, that's not very Jedi of you, bro. That doesn't.
Right?
I've never seen a Jedi hide behind a tree. I was like,
Never.
yo. I said that
Looking at
looks weird.
looking at kids at that, like, hey, what you doing over there?
Look,
I'm like,
you
this is like,
spying on kids. It's like I don't know what the vibe is, bro. But this is not very Jedi. I was like, oh, this is different, but I loved it. I loved that. I love the spectrum. Like everything's not dogmatic. Everything's not black and white. I love that we get more of that.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just so refreshing to see it because like yes we know the whole like good and bad and the Sith and the dark side has more of the the bad I wouldn't say stigma, the bad side of it, and Jedi is
Right.
known for as the good. And it's like,
Right.
okay, great, we have that black and white right there, but to see the different perspective, and this right here is like, we always wonder, like I always wonder, like why people think, like how do you misconstrue that somebody's
Right.
stealing a kid or somebody's
Yeah.
snatching kids up. I'm like, that's a hard accusation right there.
That's a big accusation.
Man, I was like, so now we're seeing it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so me, I got chills. I was like, okay, cool. And just to be able to see a whole nother side of it, and it was
When
so
when
nice.
when Indara comes up, right? When they're like, "Hey, the Jedi are here," and they said they sliced through something. She said the verbiage was they sliced through, and like, did they actually cut through a door or something? I got to go back and rewatch that. But she said the Jedi have sliced through. So
Oh,
did they
so
just put their foot? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought that no, I thought about that too. I was like, do they slice too? Because you think of a jive with a sword. So I'm not slicing. Is Star Wars is like hacking.
Ah,
So it was
still,
when you,
still
yeah. But still,
very aggressive.
that's exactly.
you just
I,
you just broke into my house.
right?
You just broke into my crib.
You
Then you
broke
show up,
my
and
alarm
then
system.
you're either, so when Indar first shows up on the scene, she's like, basically, we heard you got some kids, which I think is
Mhm.
crazy. You broke into my house and you're like, yo, we heard you got some kids over here. You're training them. Okay, even if I am training them, what does that mean? You don't know what I'm training them for. You don't know what you like. To you come into my house. You're armed. You have a full presence, and not only do you have a full presence, you're demanding something of me, and the thing you're demanding from me is mine. You're demanding my children, and I'm already hiding them from you. Hiding them from you is the first indicator that I don't want to give them up.
Mhm.
That should be number one, but they still proceed, and then they say, well, come out, we're not going to hurt you. That's the way that was, it translated it. It translated like they were the police. So then the one
You know,
child comes out. Go ahead.
when you were saying that, completely gave me CPS vibes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
child protective custody. But like, oh, we gotta take your kids because we heard something that, and nah,
We heard something, so we got to take your kids.
man.
And then OSHA comes out, right? To further that this is a hostile takeover, but it has they want to keep the guise of we're the galaxy savers, so that everybody's trying to stay positive, but this is clearly a hostile take. When OSHA comes out and Soul shows her his lightsaber, I made that point on my TikTok. That is a violation. And I was raised growing up that if you wanted to give something to a child or you wanted to show something to a child, that you didn't go directly to the child. You asked the parent first, hey, is this okay? Do you mind if I, because you're trying to earn the trust of the child and you're doing it in a way that you know conflicts with the parents wants. And that was always a
Yes,
no-go.
yes, I
And
agree. And I got bad juju when that happened too. Yeah, I was like, ain't cool.
right? I think you would make a great Jedi. How? You haven't even tested her yet. You don't even know if she's capable. Oh, that's right. You've been spying on them. I was like, yo, this feels crazy. And then to keep it going, the one child came out. That should have been enough. You got a child who clearly wants to be a part of this, and the other child does not. But you said no. We want the sister too. Come out. They said, have your sister come out. I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, that's super. It just tastes like, we know what we're here for. We've already scoped the scene out. We don't care what you want. We're going
Yep,
to test them.
yep,
My question is, what
absolutely.
would have happened in that moment? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. You're no. Go ahead.
Oh, what if Anasea would have said, well, would have not done her juju on Master Turpin, or he's a Padawan at this point? What would have happened if she would have said, no, you're not taking my kids. I don't care about your tests. What happens at that point? Do they just leave? It
See,
didn't. It didn't feel like they were going to just leave.
yeah, I don't think they were just left. I think it was a more of a, hey, that's aggression. So we gotta,
Right.
that type of aggression, we have to protect ourselves. So I mean,
Right.
grant that's just theorizing, but I mean at the same time, we're seeing what's playing out, and hopefully we'll get more information around it on episode 4. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was wild, and even if it's just that portion right there, what we saw from what you just described and everything, with the Jedi first coming in and saying, "Hey, we want to see this." It planted so many things, and I've been seeing a lot of people playing the who done it, who did what, and who's behind this,
Yeah.
and because what they were showing with, and if you haven't seen it yet, spoilers, you guys, you don't be watching this episode. You want to, you're too far in to not be
Too far in.
knowing that this is spoilers. But with the whole, they made it seem like not Osha, but
May.
May, the fire messed everything up. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? And at first I was like, I'm just going with it, like, okay. Like, I was like, damn, that's a lot of dead bodies. What happened? Was
A
there an
lot of
explosion
dead
that took them out?
bodies.
I mean, I get that. I was like, but, and I'm pretty sure they were hinting like, hey, it's a lot. It was a fire explosion. You see a fire explosion, blah blah blah. But just the
Right.
way that they're put out, an explosion, they'd be everywhere. They'd be all like
Everywhere. Yeah,
clustered
they wouldn't
together,
even showed it to us. Yeah.
right?
But
So I'm like,
when Osha finds that secret tunnel, she goes underneath that vent and she's directly underneath them. She actually hears them screaming. So it couldn't have been an explosion and it couldn't have been the fire. It there was something. There's definitely something else afoot. And she
mhm,
hears the screaming, but she keeps going. So she ends up past them. So it was definitely something else. Of course, they want us to do the who done it and why. But yeah, it's something else. There's definitely a third party involved. And it's most likely probably our big bad, the actual big bad, I think.
mhm,
Theory, if we're just talking theory, I think the guy that we've seen or the person we've seen with the red lightsaber is not our actual big bad. I
I
think
agree.
that's the guy working for our big bad. That's the acolyte, or may will one of them will be the actual acolyte by the time it's all over. That's just my hypothesis, and I'm shooting my shot for that one.
Okay. All right. I mean, hey, and it's a solid theory, it's a solid hypothesis, and
Yeah,
because usually what they call it, the red herring. They want you to look at one side, like,
yeah,
oh yeah, it's over here, and then nope, it's over here. The whoop de doop.
yep.
So,
The
so I get it.
switcheroo.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, it was just crazy how like everything was. It was like I said, it was a great episode. I mean, I enjoyed it,
I loved
um,
it,
and I know
and
people had
I
gripes about
was
stuff. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was definitely expecting to see this thing where the I guess we're about to I'm about to transition into all of the craziness, but I was expecting that when I saw this episode I would see this thing that would compromise Anakin, right? Because that's been the big talking point. And
Uh,
not only did I not see it, I didn't have time to think about that. Like I don't know how their minds went to that. There was one line, and that was when and Dara asked them, "Where's the father?" And the I can't remember that species. What is her name? But she looks like Maul. She looks like she's from Dathomir.
yeah.
Where she goes, they have no father. And that's the only thing where I could think people made that connection. But even that was like, that's me reaching. That's me trying to give them some grace. And I was like, nah, I don't know how people came to that. And that's a whole nother conversation, I guess.
You know what? I'm on the same page with you. I'm like, that didn't even enter my head. She's another chosen one, or they're trying to diminish Anakin, his story and his arc. I'm like, that didn't even pop in my head until I saw like on TikTok. I'm like,
Right.
even then, I'm like, no, that's not what happened, man. No,
No.
I'm like, I'll tell you something. This is what popped in my head when people are saying. I was like, well, she says she has no father. We're
Yep.
in the era as people are. You have non-binary, you have binary people, we have trans, we have this. Like, it could have been maybe that she was trans. Who knows? Maybe it could
Could have
be interesting
could
to
have
listen to
could have been.
that.
Could have
Like,
been.
it's
I
just
mean,
somebody like they go straight for that. Like, oh, you trying to ruin Star Wars? Like,
I
bruh.
mean, we could be talking about surrogates. We could be talking about in vitro. We could be talking. It's space. We could be
Exactly.
talking about a lot of different things. And like I said in my TikTok, if everybody is saying the wrong thing and the wrong thing is just astronomically incorrect, I have to assume everybody's plagiarizing off everybody because there's just no
Oh,
way everybody came to this one thought.
most definitely, man. Like, honestly, half the people who do that, they don't have. I'll be nice. They don't have their own opinions. They always
Yeah,
get it from like they plagiarize and like, oh, that's a good thought. What do you think
that
about
sounds like a
this?
good thought.
And I'm like, that's not the case. Or and what they've been doing? They've been doing using the Darth Vader comic. Oh, see,
Yeah,
this is Palpatine as Anakin's father. It's like that. No, mm, I got the whole
no,
comic collection over here. I've
no.
debunked that a couple of times. The writer and the panel creator of that comic has debunked it. That's not it. That's not even what you're saying in the comic, and that's not the case in this. I'm like,
I I know they have to be so they have to just be like, every time this comes up, they just have to hang their head and go, Jesus, what have we done? What-
man, every time I'm like,
every time.
why? Because I'm like, do we even want to do this anymore? Because it's, I mean, I love what they do. I mean, I love Star Wars. I'm gonna watch everything Star Wars, and if I don't like it,
Yeah,
if I can't, there's only been one project I can't get through, and that's been Resistance. And I'm like, it's just
mm,
I get to like the third, fourth, I'm like, I just can't get into it. As it's
yeah,
not bad, I just can't get into
yeah, for sure.
it. And
Not for
so
sure.
I got friends who are like, oh, who loves it, and like, awesome, man. I mean, I'm not bashing. I just can't get into it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I love animation, but either or, we got these a lot of them are fools. I know a lot of them fools. I'm fuck being politically correct. A lot of them are fucking fools. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, I ain't trying to
I'm
bash you or
trying to.
anything.
I am, as you see, I am trying to bash them. I am.
So
I've been
the
calling people
bigotry,
names.
yes, no.
Yeah,
The bigotry, and all that stuff, and the racism, that needs to go. Yes, I get that. Now,
yeah,
I got mutuals who I guess who are experienced and stuff like that. I'm like, and I nipped it in the ass. I don't know if it's I'm like
yeah,
the big ball black dude or what like that, but when they get trolls, I'm like, I'll troll the shit out of them. And I say, look, you can say
yeah,
whatever you want about me. As long as you say anything about my kids or my family, I'm fine. I don't give a shit what you say about me.
yeah, yeah,
And I actually had to call somebody on that one time. Some dude was trolling and going back and forth and saying some close to racist shit. And his girl hopped in one time. I was like, look, bro, you might want to get your girl if I hurt her little feelings. Seriously.
oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
was
We
like,
don't do that.
and she backed up real fast. I'm like, all right, cool. Cause I'm like,
It's not the place.
this
This
ain't
is
the
not the
place.
place for that. Nah,
But with that, with
nah.
all the bigotry and the racism that people are showing their heads, I get that. Some is legitimate, and I think some are just fucking trolling. But either it's
Yeah.
not right either or. And it's just like, when do we get to the point where we can enjoy a show without this?
I mean, I don't, I don't want to go that deep because then you have to take into account when do you think you can enjoy your life without this?
Ooh, yeah, that is deep. Okay, yeah, that's for another podcast.
Right. This is going to be present because people that look like me and you are in the not even in the driver's seat. Somebody else is driving, but the fact of the matter is they don't like the brand model of the car anymore, and they can't help that the brand model of the car is not the one that they want it to be, and
Yeah,
that's unacceptable. Rainbow capitalism, like it's all capitalism at the end of the day. Like Disney has never been the most ethical, right, in their practices. So to turn up now my favorite of these guys are the guys that think that they're like politically sound. Like I had a guy ask me, like, do you know what tokenism is? I said, bro, look at me. Do you think I don't know
wow,
what tokenism is? Like he was in his mind, he thought he was he was being politically correct by trying to get me to be upset by the fact that they cast black people intentionally for bad writing. Because in his mind, bad equals black equals bad writing. And I'm like, and you're trying to, I don't know, like socially aware me. Like you're trying to, in a weird. I was like the layers of
yeah,
that by trying to accuse Disney of hiring black people for the sake of tokenism, only to then say that's the only reason why the show is bad. Show's bad because of black, but not acknowledge your own bigotry in that. That's the layers that I had to peel back with this kid. And I was like, yo, you're hopeless. You're hopeless. And I was like, listen, if you're telling me, right? So he got to the point where he was saying, I'm that when I said that the Anakin argument was a proxy argument. It's not a real argument. I said that this is an argument used for bigots now so that they can show that, hey, this is a safe place to just dump on Star Wars or dump on the inclusivity of Disney or the progression of of Disney as a company. And of course, the people want to disagree with that. But like I said, I was talking specifically to Miss Shay 12, and I'm gonna call her out because I gave her the opportunity because I felt like she was being genuine. I did.
Okay.
I felt like she was, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. If you don't want me to go there, if you don't want me to go there, I'll stop."
No, you good. Go ahead.
Miss Shay 12, she was the first person I reached out to specifically because we were mutuals, and I said, "Hey, listen, I get that you may legitimately feel that way." And I said, for one, we can talk about it legitimately. I was like, I told her that was headcanon. Anakin's prophecy does not mention anything about his miraculous birth. It doesn't. It talks about him, the bringing balance of the force. It doesn't
Yeah.
say that he just fell out of the sky. No. But I was like, so that's headcanon, and you can't use headcanon as a reason for why you're going to tear down the show. You can't, because what you're using your opinion that you've turned into a fact in your mind, and you're going to say, well, this show's bad because of that, and that's crazy. That's ridiculous. That doesn't work. I said, but what I want you to do is be careful, because what you've done is you've now started using language that will let them know that it's okay to come say certain things on your platform. In which, if you looked in her comment section after she made that statement, there were people talking about Disney went woke, so they went broke. DEI hires. I was like, and I said that to her. You're going to see a lot more of this because you've now signaled to them that it's safe to come over there. And she was like, I don't understand why you're saying that. I was like, what is it that you don't understand? You've got the comments. The comments they're in your comment section. I was like, they're not there by accident. I was like, you've signaled to them that this is okay. And I was like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough to expel that. Start deleting the comments, start blocking them. And she responded something to the fact of like, it does destroy Anakin's legacy or his prophecy because the Star Wars is only about the Skywalkers. The Skywalkers are the main family, something to that nature. And I was just like, oh God. Oh God, you've been watching Star Wars all this time, and that has been your thought process.
I see, and that, I mean, if somebody watches this and they say like, "Oh, that's true," like tear it down. It's not true because they have the Skywalker saga.
Yeah,
it started from their family because that was the most problematic fucking family in the damn galaxy, probably
ever.
But and it intertwined with a lot of people's lives. I mean, they fucking took over the whole galaxy. So it was like, hey, so but it's
it's
not
time.
just about them. I mean, that's why they had little Rebels, Clone Wars. I mean, they were in it, but it involved them. But they had other people in it. They had. So yeah, I mean, it's not all about
that's
them.
a crazy take, and Solo, the Mandalorian. I pray to God that this is not a common thought process out there. I really hope not. I hope people know that Star Wars is about a galaxy far, far away. Galaxy, and in this galaxy, we're not talking about one family. That's crazy to think. That's so.
I was supposed to say no hate to the user that you was talking to about that.
No, none at all.
Say, I mean, if you follow any of us, don't go, no. Let her. I mean, people have their own thoughts and their opinions.
She blocked me.
Oh, okay. But it is what it is. If people get out of pocket to the point that they're being completely disrespectful, hey, sometimes not saying that you were, but you need to block people just to keep your own peace.
100%.
So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the fandom's going wild, and I talked to mutuals, and I had discussions with some of my friends, and it's like, hey, why are people doing this? It's like there are those who actually will do this to increase their engagement. I get that.
100%.
There are some people who you can call it rage farming, whatever you want to call it. Those people who actually just want to defend and like don't understand. Hey, they're just trolling you, or they're going to say what they want to say. Let it go.
Right.
And like I said, once people realize that I'm not fucking falling for that carrot, they stop messing with me. They was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I'm 43 years old. Fuck off. If you want to say 5 plus 5 is 3, so be it. Fuck, okay, so be it. If you want to actually learn something, I'll help you teach you. But otherwise, I'm not.
100%. You haven't gotten the ones that have tried to like reverse racism you. You haven't gotten the ones that are like, well, you're racist because you're blah 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 blah. You haven't gotten that. That's always fun. I love those guys.
So that happened. It's been a long time ago. Long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. And I was like, bro, come on. I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
nah.
Yeah, man. It was
So
impressive.
right, it becoming impressive sometimes. I'm like, man, that's just crazy. But we can go on about them, about
What
the
can I?
team like that. Go ahead.
Can if we're moving back to Acolyte, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Something that struck me as odd that will of course we'll probably see later on. OSHA says we're on this planet and we're the only children, right? So
Mhm.
they don't have access to the outside world. Why do you think she feels so strongly that the Jedi are like the good guy? Because clearly amongst her coven, who those are the only people she has access to, the Jedi are not the good guys or they're not the saviors. Where do you think she developed this idea that these are the guys, right? Hopefully there'll be some more context, but just if you had to spitball.
Spitball. Okay, real fast. A couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One, somebody has been reaching out to her with the Force.
Ah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
implanting those thoughts in her head, and like, okay, this and this,
Mm.
because you can reach out into the Force and
Yeah.
sense somebody.
That's a
Like, oh,
fact.
I sense somebody, and that's how they figure out. Hey, we have somebody over here. We have some kids over here, and
That's a
so
fact.
she's like,
Yeah.
and having that telepathic connection, like, hey, we're not the bad guys. We're the good guys, and
Yeah.
we're doing this. We're actually helping this and showing her images, like. So it depends on how strong they are in the Force. They can see certain things, and it depends on what your specialty is, what skill you are in the Force.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean that's one. Um,
No, that's a
Two,
beautiful one. Yeah.
her mothers could have been telling, hey, Jedi are bad, Jedi are bad. Like them trying to just keep. And when you try to keep something away from like your kid,
Yeah.
sometimes they automatically gravitate to that. Say, you don't keep me away from that flame. Why?
Yeah.
I need to learn more
Yeah.
why now.
The
So
rebellion. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So those are my reasons why. I mean, and sometimes like with the Force, it's a gut feeling. You see the nature and like that, or you hear stories out there about people, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're like, oh, well, who's Jedi? Oh yeah, I mean, try know other friends there, but other people you hear whispers. Oh, the Jedi this.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that they actually saved some people this time. Well, I heard they massacred them. Well, no, they don't
Hmm.
do that. And so you hear that, and kids are like sponges.
That's a fact. That is a
So
fact.
they pick up everything and then they'll make their own decisions on stuff. So those are my Spitfires.
That's good. That's good. No, the reach out in the force that I feel like is going to be more in line. But now looking at how the Jedi went about it, went about this takeover, that almost feels like a violation in itself, right? You've
Hmm.
now reached out to my child's mind without my consent, without my know-how, without my withal. Now you've almost plagued my child against me. Do it when they're doing their standoff and they finally have Osha come out and you can just see on Anastasia's face, like I've seen that, I've felt that. I don't, Mespa, I don't know if you've experienced it, but you had your kids go out somewhere in public and not act like they have home training, and
Yeah.
you've taught them.
Yeah. I'm
There's
like you motherfucker.
there's
Like
that moment where
really?
you can't act out right now because people are watching, but hey, when we get back
You get
somewhere
back
behind
to the
closed
car, your ass is tearing.
doors. When I seen that baby come out and Anastasia look down and go, that
The
feeling of
flashbacks I had.
parental betrayal. I'm trying to protect you from something and you are running towards it. Please
Mhm.
stop. Please stop. And
Yeah,
just like, no, I want to do this. I want to be a part of this. And it's just like, no, sweetheart, no, this is not a good idea. You're not going to enjoy this.
I
You're
agree.
not. This is
I
not. Oh, oh. I felt that. I
and
felt that for her.
I felt it. I felt it too. And it was like after a while, I was like, you know what? I gotta let you fuck up. I gotta let you fall in the fire to understand how much it's gonna burn.
Yeah.
And then I gotta pick you up. You gonna have a scar, but we'll see. And unfortunately, it's turned out a bit worse scarred and intended.
Definitely a bit worse. Something also that I wanted to speak. I don't what I thought was a little not silly, but I guess it tracks for Star Wars is that this need to show the person who's going to go down or take the dark path is like obscenely evil, like almost
Mhm.
cartoony. So you have this child. May is a child, and she's clearly almost more force sensitive than I think Osha is, or at least from what
Yeah,
we've seen so far. And they immediately given her like this sadistic edge. And
yeah,
I'm like, it almost seemed unnecessary. They should just be two little girls. Of course, one should have a different temperament, but like the whole "I'll kill you," I was like, oh no. I was like, that's
yeah.
weird.
That was a wild one. Like, kind of like, wow, like, okay, I get. Yeah, that seems kind of
I get
evil.
not wanting your sister. I get not wanting your sister to leave, but to the point of the "I'll kill," like it was probably an empty threat. It just seemed out of place, especially when they were doing their little chant, the "I am one," or you know what I mean. When they're doing their little chant, you can
Yeah,
see this sisterhood. I don't it or when like I don't know if it was a butterfly or like a bird when she like catches the bird with the force and she like holds it and it's
yeah,
there's this moment of like oh this is the kid that like pokes dogs with a stick or something like
yeah. No, yeah.
this is
They're
this is
making her out to be the bad. Like, oh no, she's the dark one, and she's
clearly
the troubled one that's going to have the issues. So they're putting all the the weight and deceitfulness on her. It's like
right.
she's the bad person. It's like, yeah. So I know what you're talking about, and it's like that's where where Harren's going to be. It's like, hey, with Osha is like now like, hey, I'm looking for revenge, and we all know that
Right.
Sith looks for revenge. Somebody
Yeah.
tapped into that one. So like somebody's
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, this and this, and you want revenge? They killed your family and your sister and your mother, and
Yeah.
so now you want to get this revenge. So yeah, somebody tapped into that one, and they're just feeding it.
Yo, yeah. Somebody was definitely present. Whoever our big bad is was definitely present for that, for whatever that situation was.
Hmm.
Also, the lies, the blatant lies they've clearly told May, like, oh, what is it? If a Jedi draws their saber, it's to kill. Like that's no, that's
That's the
blatant. Just
opposite. It's
just
always
give
been to
her
defense.
blatant false
Yeah,
information that they're clearly using to weaponize her, which people didn't catch, ironically. Not to get back on those guys, but people were like, "Oh, that's not true at all." Exactly. It's not. It's supposed to be a lie. Clearly, somebody is brainwashing this child. Why are you guys not catching on to this? But
I what they
a
say,
great job,
media literacy. It's like, man,
man.
but
Again, not gonna go down there, but I was like, yeah, comprehension is down across the board, and it's unfortunate.
yeah,
But
I'm right there with you.
whoever is lying to this child, I wish they would have done. If I could have leaned in. Now that I've seen episode three, episodes one and two kind of make a little bit more sense.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of wish they would keep the tone of the rest of the series like episode three. Episode one and two, the tone was kind of all over the place. The tone kind of felt like Thor: Love and Thunder, like where we have this dark, broody plot, but we're laughing, we're joking. There's a half naked Jedi steaming his
Hmm.
robe. It was like, all right. What are we going for here? People are dying, but let's throw a giggle in here and there. Okay. I can go for it.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
But
and yeah, it's
but
crazy. I mean, like, go ahead.
no. But episode three comes in and it's like, okay, no, this is business all the way through. And I'm not saying that there can't be a little lightheartedness in the show, but it was like the placing of it was real strange. Episode three is like, nah, here it is, like there was a couple funny moments, like when the girls are fighting. If you have kids and your kids like to fight, my kids love to fight. That
Mhm.
was a little chuckle moment, but it didn't overcome the seriousness of the situation. It didn't overcome
Correct.
the seriousness. It was that the tone, the way they controlled the tone was significantly better, and I hope they keep that pacing going through the rest of the show.
I think they will, and that's why I think they had to release one and two on the same day. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a premiere. It was like, this ain't gonna make
Mm,
sense if you go one and and then next week you guys will be real pissed.
That's perfect.
So
That's perfect.
so
They had to
one and
get that out the
two
way.
was the cliffhanger, and yeah, so it was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. So no,
One and
that's
two
why
was
we
we
didn't
got
get
to. That's wise. That's you, man. You're on point. You're on point right now. I'm
it. I
glad.
mean,
I'm glad.
listen, something I learned about watching movies and about shows. If you can't, you have to give it to at least the third, maybe the fourth episode before
Yeah.
it start getting good. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. If it's not good after that, then it's just it's going to be a drawn out thing, and people are like, oh, what the hell? You got to think the Mandalorian. Everyone like there was very few bad critiques on that,
That's a fact. That was a
and
good show.
we was like, what the hell is this? This okay? This is a western, like whatever. What like bounty hunter? That's all we knew was
Yeah.
bounty hunter. Because like, all right, cool. Mandalorians, okay, cool. We get more of that, but it's like, so we just gave it time. We like, well, we see him some
Yeah.
shooting, we see him in this, and then by the
Yeah.
time it got to the third episode, like, damn, this is good.
Right. 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 This is real deal. And I'll do another shout out. My boy Chaco. Chaco said, if the fourth episode comes out and you're still dumping on this series or this show, you are not a Star Wars fan. It has to be said because you're continuing to watch something that clearly does not fancy you. It's clearly not for you. And Star Wars has so many
Yeah.
entry points and so many more entry points to come that there may be one that comes out that is definitely for you, but you're going to continue to hate watch this, which means your opinion is not even worth talking about.
Right. And why would you hate watch something? Like I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't. That's just my time is precious, and I don't like watch something. I gotta like want to enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, my kids don't really care for Star Wars like that. My
Yeah.
youngest daughter, name is Sabine, and she just knows that dad likes Star Wars. That is your favorite
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, yeah, I did it. But recently, I was watching the Acolyte. I was like, I'm watching it. You gotta deal with it. Whatever, you go downstairs, watch your TV or watch your tablet. I'm about to watch my show. Leave me alone. And
Yeah.
because usually I would just shows asleep. But this time I was like, okay, I'm watching it. And she's like, oh, Dad, can we watch the cartoon one? I was like, I thought you didn't like that one. The young Jedi Adventures.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's her
So I was
entry
like,
point. That's an entry point for her. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because at first she's like, I don't want to do it. But now she's like, I want to watch it. I'm like, so the High Republic is going to be your entry point.
It's gonna be your entry
Awesome.
point. Yeah.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
So that's what Star Wars is about. It's like people like,
Yeah, man.
oh, what's why the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back was the best thing. Okay, great. I love Empire Strikes Back. I mean, but is it the best all the time? Not all the time. It depends on the mood I'm in.
Right.
Is it one of my favorite Star Wars movies? Yes, but
Yes.
I'll rewatch Revenge of the Sith a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like, it's just got some good choreography and like this. Man, this is that excellent. So it's just different things. So that's why
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, this is the best era," or the sequels are suck. Like, they don't suck. They just
Nah.
they're not for you, and that's fine. I mean, if you pick and choose what you want.
That's a fact. That's a fact. It depends on who you ask, man. Like I can say I was not the biggest fan of the sequel trilogy, but if you ask my daughters, oh my god, they love seeing Rey on screen. They can't get enough.
Yeah.
In fact, my 5-year-old loves The Force Awakens, and she was like 1 when it came. No, she wasn't. She wasn't 1. She's 5 now. She wasn't even born when The Force Awakens came out.
Wow.
I think she was. What Force Awakens? What 2017? So she was
Yeah.
born. She was born what 2-3 years after, and she can't get enough of it.
See?
She loves it. So it depends on it. Legit depends on who you ask, man. And different entry points for Star Wars are for different people. Star Wars is now a multifaceted entity, like an intellectual property, and it's so vast now. It's taken its own, like, just the entry points itself have now taken their own identity. Right? Some people love Ahsoka the show. I saw that there were people who did not like Kenobi, and I'm just like, I don't know how, but
See?
there are people who didn't like it.
And
But
that's the
those same people say they love Rogue One. That's your entry point. That's for you. That's the element of Star Wars where you live. Just hang on, and it's going to be another entry point. I guarantee there's going to be another entry point for Star Wars that tickles your fancy. But I don't know. They just gotta be patient. Be patient, but respect the fact that everybody now has a little piece of Star Wars that can belong to them, which is
Hmm.
dope. That's dope.
Hmm. That's
My
what
my
Star Wars is supposed to be about. That's what Star Wars is. Listen, the reason why Disney bought it is like, okay, hey, we have to continue this because it's going to be a generational thing. Star Wars, they
yeah,
want to be able to create that same feeling that when we as adults saw Return of the Jedi, saw Empire
yeah.
Strikes Back, saw the second Death Star blow up, saw the first Death Star blow up. When we saw Yoda on the Force being used for the first time, that the tingle that we
Oh
got, like,
man.
what the fuck?
Oh
So
man, yeah.
they're recreating that for each generation. You know why? Because that always gave us hope. That gave us
Always
something to
give us
attach
hope.
to.
Yeah.
It just made life better. And
Yeah,
if it's Star
facts.
Wars fandom or whatever family you're in, that's the same thing it does. And it just
Yeah.
continues. And then they learned that. It's like, okay, cool. Let's keep on creating stuff. So this right here is what this is. And all this is that we'll use the witches. They're creating more diversity and representation for people. Lesbians,
Yeah.
okay, no problem. You know, you're two females who are in love with each other. Guess what? It's everywhere. It's been there, and it's more out in the public now. So what? Get over it.
I didn't
Like
even
if you
realize
haven't,
it. I didn't even notice it.
I didn't either. I wasn't even looking at that. I was like, okay, she touched her face. So okay, cool. Oh,
All right.
nice. All right, let's keep it moving. I'm not here for the
Let's
sex. I'm
keep
here
it
for something
let's keep it
else.
let's keep it moving. Right?
I'm
Like
not mad at y'all. Get
if
yours.
you've seen if you've watched any of the Clone Wars or Rebels and you've seen the Witches of Dathomir, you've seen basically a lesbian coven. You haven't
Yeah.
I mean they use the males, but the males aren't involved. Like
Hmm.
the males are there for reproduction. So like you've already seen this. It's already been on screen. If you have a problem with it now, you have to acknowledge you have a bigger problem. You have a much
No,
bigger
for
problem
sure.
on your hands.
I agree. So I think the last thing I want to touch on, and so kind of already touched on it a little bit, but the ethical Jedi and everything like that, and we was
Yeah.
like talking about how Soul came out. Was like, oh, do you want? Like, he went to grab his first lightsaber
Yeah, man.
to Osha. And it's like, why out of all of them did he step out the crowd? Like, granted, he was following her, stalking her like that, and like scouting the kids. But out of all of them, like Soul, and like, what's the background on that one? It's like, I'm going to bond and attach to you.
And maybe he's the one that was reaching out in the force. Maybe he's the one that made the connection. But I agree. I agree. He's already made an attachment. And we know, as we know, Jedi's don't do that. And
Hmm.
he's already made a clear attachment to this one child. And he clearly feels strongly about both children, but he reached out and Osha reached back.
Yeah.
So 100%. Like even when she was taking the test, he immediately realized that she was doing it intentionally to
Hmm.
fail. And he already knew, like, so you see the look on Indara's face where she gets it wrong, and she's like, and you see Soul, and Soul's like, yeah, correct, you got it right. No, and she didn't get it right, she got it wrong. And she's like looking at him like, I just got that answer wrong. And then she gives it up. That wasn't a mountain. And he goes,
Hmm.
basically, yeah, I know your mother told you to fail this test intentionally. So he is clearly got his foot on the gas with this. So
Hmm.
either Ace, whoever his master is probably the one who reached out, or he himself reached out in the Force
Hmm.
to Osha.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense, and I'm like, okay, so I want more story around that, and I'm pretty sure we'll get it. We'll get all
Yeah.
the reveal on everything like that. I mean, who if he's a big bad, I don't know how that's a good ass cover. If he is. I'm like, holy hell, I see that one. But just with that, we got the other Jedi that are predominant in so far. I forget what
Hmm.
the book's name. Because we don't know if it's he or she yet. So,
We don't know.
but
Yeah, we don't know.
yeah. So, but we'll say they just be cool with them.
Well, for the sake of the time, yeah,
Yeah, for the sake of the time, they were more like, "Hey, I'm here. What's
yeah,
up?" Like the roars, like, "Do what you think, what you need to do." Like,
that's a
it's more
fact.
like that's the vibe I got from the Wookiees. It's like, hey, you do what you feel right. Don't go over what we want. Do everything what you feel right.
There were a lot of glances. Like there were a lot of, if you go back and rewatch, there were not a lot of dialogue from the Wookiee, but there were a lot of like he's eyeballing Osha and he's giving her a lot of looks, and I think they could be interpreted a bunch of different ways. But at the end of episode 2, right, we're going to him, and that'll be that a lot of I could, hopefully a lot of those looks will be validated. But
Yeah,
I know the one look that I was able to decipher pretty clearly is he's peeking behind the witch's robes. He can clearly see that there are kids there. And then like he can smell them. Like he sniffs and he's
yeah,
like, nah, there's definitely some kids back there. So he's definitely, he seems almost neutral. Like
yeah,
he didn't come off as an aggressor. He didn't come off as like this is something that has to happen. But he also has a connection with Osha that they make that very clear, or
mhm,
at least just from the looks. Because when she goes on to the Jedi starship, there's a little moment where he's like fixing, or they're fixing something, and they make contact. They look at each other. There's this kind of look, and then as Osha's coming off, they do it again. There's another look. And but it's just all looks. It's all here. It's all optical. There's nothing in clad. There's no roars. There's no context for it. But clearly, those looks mean something. It means something,
yeah,
and
exactly.
hopefully we'll find
Yeah,
something.
I agree. It's almost to me, it's almost like, you sure you're doing the right thing, kid? Like, you sure you want to do this? It's like I was like,
Facts,
uh.
facts.
But yeah. So I mean, listen. This is been my most anticipated show out of all the Star Wars shows that they've announced since Star Wars Celebration 2022,
100%.
and I was like, man, this right here. So I'm loving it so far. I mean, is it 10 out of 10? No, because it's not done
No,
yet.
yeah,
And we won't know until it's done. But they already announced season 2. They said, hey, we're moving forward with season 2. I'm like, cool. And so I'm like, great. But I honestly think we'll get 4 seasons of this one. And even with all the haters out there saying I think it's gonna go 4 seasons, because
that's a hot take.
that's a hot take, and I'll tell you why. The amount of content they're pushing out with the books and the comics for the High Republic, and
Yeah,
this is the teaser. And yes, there's a lot of negative, cry out and all that, the fanboys and like that, and the
hmm
haters. We call them the haters that aren't really watching it. They're just pissed off because it has representation in there.
right.
That is going to be, once that calms down, and it's going to. Disney's going to see, hey, okay, no, this is good. People are actually buying the merchandise. People are doing this. Where's the money? Where's it coming from? The data shows this. Don't care about the Rotten Tomatoes score, Rotten Tomatoes score, whatever like that is. This is what's happening. They like it. Go move on.
Yeah,
So I honestly think they're going to do that, and then they might, depending on if how it does on season 3, just like how the Mandalorian did. They say we're
yeah.
making a movie. that I,
That's big. I mean, listen, I'm back. I'm behind you. I hope we get there. I'm backing you.
I do
That's
too.
that's big. That's a big take, but I'm with it. I'm with it. I like
But
that.
just, and here's the thing, because this is supposed to tap into the dark side more,
hmm
and have this, because we got everything we got so far has been like in the prequels. It's been the side of the
hmm
Jedi.
Yeah,
It's been the side of Jedi. Even the original wasn't. It was the side of. It wasn't the side of Jedi. It wasn't the side of the dark. It was the side of
right.
the Force. I would say the balance, like
The
just a
balance.
neutral, the Skywalker family. Okay, cool. We had Luke Skywalker and then Leia. And so that's what it was. And so it was Darth Vader's journey from
Yeah,
R2's perspective.
facts.
And so I think this is going to be the dark side perspective. And I was like, I think that we need that. I think it's time for that.
We 100% need that. We need a good dark side story. 100%. I agree.
Yes.
I
So,
agree.
and the beginning of it is the having a mystery show as the opening to it, and the beginning of it is great, because the dark side has always been mysterious. That's the whole thing about this. Like, hey, we don't know that much about it, and
Yep.
it's like, okay, we're tapping into a mysterious vein. So I honestly think this is going to be a good potential for a amazing show, and
Yes.
can't wait for the next episode.
Man, me too, man. I'm excited. I'm
All
excited.
right, all right. So it was great talking to you. So we're gonna wrap it up. I didn't realize we almost gone an hour, but
I love it. I
if you
love
guys
how
are still
quick.
watching, thanks for watching. We go ahead and let the people know where they can find you at, and yeah,
All right. One more time. I'm Inquisitor underscore Kula. You can find me on TikTok. That is where I am primarily. I'm more so. I do my reviews. I do my focus, but I'm more of a saber spinner. So if you love seeing the hand tosses, the moves, the quick stuff, I also do tutorials on there. So if you want to learn how to spin your lightsaber, if you just got your first lightsaber and you're like, man, I would love to do something else and just swing it around senselessly, just come find me. I got you.
there you go. Great content. I love you doing your swinging. I like this man. You got the big old tall ceilings and out there doing this thing. Like, all right. I see you. I see you. But yeah, man. Hey, anytime you want to come on the show, let me know. I'll love to have you.
Awesome.
And like I said, I have another podcast. We'll talk more about that off of there. And but
Yep.
yeah, so if you want to talk anything nerdy, blurty, let me know. I'll have you back on. But yes, can't wait for the episode 4. Depending on when you see this, but let us know if you are enjoying the Acolyte. If you're, I guess, hating it, that's fine too. It's okay. You don't gotta like everything, but
No.
be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share this with somebody. And I would love to know what you guys think about the Acolyte. What your thoughts about what we talked about today? Does it resonate with you? Do you have your own opinions? Just keep it civil and respectful, and we can have a great civil discourse, and I don't mind. So with that, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks again for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but I'm glad I'm back. And till the next one, may the force be with you, and you have enough for life.
Hey.